The morning started like any other day in Seoul until the sky changed forever. Park Jin-woo was drinking his coffee in the military command center when the alarms started screaming. He dropped his cup and ran to the main screen where his officers were pointing at something impossible. Massive triangular ships were hanging in the air above the city. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Each ship was the size of 10 football stadiums put together, and they just floated there without making any sound. The metal hulls gleamed silver in the morning sun, and strange lights pulsed along their edges. Kim So-ra sat at her communication desk trying to make sense of what her equipment was telling her. She was the best radio operator in the Korean Defense Force, but nothing had prepared her for this. The alien ships were sending signals on frequencies that should not exist. Her hands shook as she adjusted the controls. All around the world, the same thing was happening. Alien ships appeared over New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, and 50 other major cities. They came without warning, and they came in silence. No one saw them arrive. They were just suddenly there, hanging in the sky like metal clouds. Lee Min-ho was in his fighter jet when the first reports came in. He was doing routine training exercises over the Yellow Sea when his radio exploded with panicked voices. Every pilot in his squadron started talking at once, but their commander told them to stay calm and return to base. The alien ships did nothing for 3 hours. They just waited. Everyone on Earth was watching the sky and wondering what would happen next. News reporters stood on rooftops pointing cameras at the massive vessels. Military leaders held emergency meetings. Politicians made phone calls. Fear spread through every city like wildfire. Dr. Yang Haijin was in her laboratory when her assistant burst through the door. The young scientist was studying radio waves from deep space, but today space had come to her. She ran to her instruments and started recording everything the alien ships were broadcasting. Then, at exactly noon in every time zone around the world, the ships began to speak. The voice came through every radio, every television, and every phone on Earth. It was deep and mechanical, like a machine trying to sound like a person. The words were in perfect English, but they felt cold and empty. "I am Commander Vex of the Galactic Empire," the voice said. "We have come to bring order to your world. Your species is young and dangerous. You need guidance from those who are older and wiser." Park Jin-woo listened to the broadcast from his command center. His officers stood around him with worried faces. None of them had ever imagined this day would come. Earth was about to meet its new masters. "You have built weapons that could destroy your planet," the alien commander continued. "You fight wars over small pieces of land. You pollute your world and waste its resources. This cannot continue. The Galactic Empire has watched your species for many years. We have decided that you need our help." Kim So-ra was recording every word. The alien transmission was unlike anything in her technical manuals. The signal was so clear and strong that it seemed to come from inside her own equipment. She wondered how they could broadcast to every device on Earth at the same time. "The Empire has brought peace to 10,000 worlds," the voice went on. "We have ended wars and stopped suffering. We have given guidance to species that were lost and confused like yours. Now we offer the same gift to humanity." Lee Min-ho was back at the airbase with his squadron. They were all sitting in their jets waiting for orders. The pilots were scared, but they were also angry. No one liked being told what to do, especially by strangers from outer space. "Your leaders will surrender your planet to Imperial rule," the commander announced. "You have 3 days to make this decision. If you agree, we will help your species grow and learn. If you refuse, we will take your world by force. We have done this many times before. We know how to deal with stubborn species." Dr. Yang Haijin was analyzing the transmission with her computers. She noticed something strange about the alien signal. It was very powerful, but it also seemed unstable, like someone trying to sound confident when they were actually nervous. The alien commander kept talking. He told Earth about the great Galactic Empire. He said they controlled most of the galaxy. They had advanced technology and powerful weapons. No species had ever successfully fought against them. Earth would be wise to surrender peacefully. President Choi Yuna was in an emergency meeting with world leaders. They were all connected by video calls, watching each other discuss the most important decision in human history. Some wanted to surrender immediately, others wanted to fight, but everyone was scared. "We will return in 3 days for your answer, Commander." Vex concluded, "If your leaders agree to join the Empire, we will begin the process of bringing your world into our civilization. If you refuse, we will demonstrate why resistance is futile. You have been warned." The transmission ended and silence fell over the entire planet for a moment. Nobody moved. Everyone was thinking about what they had just heard. The most powerful empire in the galaxy had just given Earth an ultimatum. Park Jin-woo looked at his officers. They were waiting for him to give them orders, but what orders could he give? His entire military was designed to fight other humans, not alien spaceships. He felt helpless and angry at the same time. Kim Sora kept listening to her equipment. The alien ships were still broadcasting, but now they were sending different signals. She could hear what sounded like conversations between the ships. The aliens were talking to each other in their own language. Lee Min-ho and his pilots were discussing what they should do. Some wanted to attack the alien ships immediately. Others thought it was suicide to fight such advanced technology, but all of them agreed on one thing. They did not want to surrender their planet to strangers. Dr. Young Haijin was making an interesting discovery. Her analysis of the alien signals showed something unexpected. The ships were using very old technology. Their communication systems were powerful but not very efficient. It was like finding someone using a steam engine to power a modern car around. The world people were looking up at the alien ships with a mixture of fear and anger. Some were crying, some were preparing to fight. Many were wondering if this was the end of human freedom. The aliens had given Earth 3 days to decide, but President Choi Yuna was already thinking about something else. She was thinking about what would happen if Earth said no. She was thinking about whether humanity was ready for the biggest fight in its history. As the first day ended, the alien ships remained motionless above Earth cities. They were waiting for an answer, but they had no idea what kind of species they were dealing with. They thought humans were just another primitive race that would bow down to superior force. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Galactic Empire had conquered thousands of worlds, but they had never encountered anything quite like humanity. They were about to discover that some species do not surrender easily and that the youngest races can sometimes be the most dangerous. Earth was going to give them an answer they would never forget. President Choi Yuna did not sleep that night. She spent the entire evening in meetings with world leaders, military commanders, and scientists. Everyone wanted to know what Earth should do. Some countries wanted to surrender immediately, others wanted to fight back, but Yuna had a different idea. The next morning, she stood before the cameras in the presidential palace. Her advisors had told her this was crazy. Her military leaders said it was suicide, but Yuna knew something about humans that the aliens did not understand. She knew that sometimes the best defense was a strong attack. "Good morning," she said, looking directly into the camera. "I am speaking not just to the people of Earth, but to Commander Vex and his Galactic Empire. We have heard your demands, and we have made our decision." Around the world, people stopped what they were doing to listen. Families gathered around televisions. Workers crowded around radio. Soldiers listened from their bases. Everyone wanted to know what their leaders had decided. "We reject your ultimatum completely." Yuna continued, "Your empire may be old and powerful, but you have made a serious mistake. You came to our world without permission. You threatened our people. You demanded our surrender. Well, here is our answer." She paused and looked directly at the camera, her voice becoming stronger. "We tell you to leave. Get your ships out of our solar system. Go back to wherever you came from. You have one warning from the people of Earth. Leave now or face consequences." In the alien command ship floating above Seoul, Commander Vex was watching the broadcast with his officers. They could not believe what they were hearing. No species had ever spoken to the Empire this way. "Young races always surrendered or begged for mercy, sir," one of his officers said. "Should we begin the attack?" Vex raised his hand to stop him. Something about the human leader bothered him. She did not look afraid. She looked confident, like someone who knew a secret he did not. Meanwhile, Lee Min-ho was preparing for a special mission. He had been chosen to deliver a personal message to the alien fleet. His fighter jet was equipped with the most powerful transmitters Earth could build. He would fly close to the alien ships and speak directly to their commanders. As his jet lifted off from the airbase, Lee felt both scared and excited. He was about to become the first human to have a conversation with aliens, but he was also flying toward ships that could destroy him with one shot. His fighter climbed high into the atmosphere until he was level with the massive alien vessels. Up close, they were even more impressive than they looked from the ground. The Metal hulls stretched out like floating cities covered with strange symbols and glowing lights. This is Captain Lee Min-ho of the Earth Defense Force. He broadcast on all frequencies. Can you hear me, Commander Vex? I have a message for you and your empire inside. The command ship. The aliens were surprised. A single tiny fighter had approached their fleet. The human pilot was either very brave or very stupid. They decided to listen to what he had to say. You think you know humans, he continued, but you are wrong. You think we are weak because we are young. You think we will surrender because you have bigger ships. You are about to learn something about our species that your empire has never encountered before. Lee flew his fighter in a circle around the command ship, showing that he was not afraid of their weapons. Humans do not surrender, he said. We do not bow down to bullies. We do not give up our freedom because someone threatens us. Your empire has conquered weak species who were afraid to fight back. But we are different. In her laboratory, Dr. Yang Haijin was making incredible discoveries about the alien technology. She had been analyzing their transmissions all night, and what she found changed everything. The alien ships were impressive to look at, but their technology was actually very old. They used brute force instead of smart engineering. Their weapons were powerful, but they were slow to aim and reload. Most importantly, their defensive shields had a critical weakness. She called Admiral Park Jin-woo immediately. Sir, I need to speak with you right away, she said. I have discovered something about the alien ships that could change everything. Park rushed to her laboratory where Yang showed him her analysis on multiple computer screens. Look at this, she said, pointing to a diagram. Their shields are designed to stop large, powerful attacks, but they have gaps. They cannot protect against small, fast attacks that hit multiple points at the same time. Park studied the information carefully. If Yang was right, then Earth fighters might actually have a chance against the massive alien ships. It seemed impossible, but the science was clear. What do you need? He asked. Give me every fighter pilot we have, Yang replied, and let me show them how to exploit this weakness. Back in space, Lee Min-ho was finishing his message to the aliens. Your empire has ruled through fear for too long, he said. You have crushed species who could not defend themselves, but Earth is different. We have been preparing for this day longer than you know we are ready for. Whatever you bring. Commander Vex was getting angry. This primitive species was insulting the mighty Galactic Empire. No young race should dare speak to them this way. Send fighters to destroy that human ship, he ordered, but something stopped him. His tactical officer was showing him readings from their sensors. Sir, the officer said, we are detecting strange energy signatures from multiple locations around this planet. There are hidden installations that we did not see before. Vex looked at the data with growing concern. The planet that had seemed defenseless was revealing hidden defenses. Weapon platforms were powering up all around. Earth military bases that looked empty were suddenly showing activity. What kind of species prepared for galactic war before they even knew aliens existed on Earth? President Yuna was making another broadcast. This time she was speaking to every planet in the galaxy. Every world under Imperial rule would hear her words. People of the galaxy, she said, I am speaking to you from Earth, a planet that refuses to surrender to the Galactic Empire. For too long your worlds have lived under Imperial rule. For too long you have accepted that freedom is impossible. We are here to tell you that the Empire can be defeated. We are here to show you that resistance is possible. Watch what happens in the next few days. Learn from our example. Her words were being transmitted across thousands of star systems, reaching species that had forgotten what freedom meant. The Empire is not as powerful as they claim, she continued. They rule through fear because they know that united resistance could destroy them. Earth stands ready to help any world that wants to be free. Commander Vex realized that this was becoming much more serious than a simple conquest. The humans were broadcasting rebellion across the entire galaxy. If other species started to resist Imperial rule, it could lead to chaos throughout their empire. He made a decision that would change galactic history. All ships prepare for immediate attack, he ordered. We will destroy this planet as an example to the rest of the galaxy. No one defies the Galactic Empire, but as his ships moved into attack position, something unexpected happened. Earth was ready. Hidden weapons platforms emerged from empty space around the planet. Energy shields activated over major cities. Fighter squadrons launched from bases that the aliens had not even detected. Dr. Yang Haijin smiled as she watched the alien ships moving into Her trap. She had spent the entire night preparing for this moment. Every human fighter pilot now knew exactly where to hit the alien ships to cause maximum damage. Lee Min-ho received the attack signal and turned his fighter toward the nearest alien vessel. Time to show them what humans can do, he said into his radio. The war for Earth was about to begin, and the Galactic Empire was about to learn that some species fight back. Commander Vex wanted to test human determination before launching a full attack. He selected his most powerful warship and ordered it to descend toward Tokyo. The massive vessel was 3 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to level an entire city. This will be a demonstration, he told his officers. We will destroy one city to show the humans what resistance costs them. Then they will surrender like every other species. The warship dropped through Earth atmosphere like a falling mountain. Its hull glowed red from the heat, and its weapons began charging with deadly energy. People in Tokyo looked up at the approaching death, and many began to panic. But Lee Min-ho was already moving. His fighter squadron had been waiting for exactly this moment. They had trained for weeks using Dr. Young Haijin discoveries about alien shield weaknesses. Now it was time to put that training to the test. Follow me, he radioed to his pilots. Remember what Dr. Yang taught us: hit multiple points at the same time. Small fast attacks that their shields cannot stop. 20 human fighters raced toward the alien warship. They looked like tiny birds attacking a giant whale. The size difference was so extreme that it seemed hopeless, but Lee knew something. The aliens did not. Human pilots were different from any species in the galaxy. Other races relied on computers to fly their ships. They followed programmed patterns and predictable tactics, but humans flew by instinct. They could make decisions in split seconds that no computer could calculate. The alien warship opened fire with massive energy beams that could slice through mountains. But the human fighters danced between the shots, moving in patterns that confused the alien gunners. Lee led his squadron in a spiraling attack that no tactical manual had ever described. Dr. Young Haijin was watching from her laboratory. Her analysis had shown that alien shields were designed to stop large concentrated attacks, but they had gaps, small windows, where fast-moving objects could slip through. Now she watched her theory become reality. Human fighters swarmed around the alien warship like angry bees. Each pilot fired at different shield sections, creating multiple weak points that the alien defenses could not handle. The massive warship that could destroy cities found itself helpless against 20 small fighters. Its shields flickered and failed. Its weapons could not track targets that moved so unpredictably. Within minutes, the mighty vessel was defenseless. Lee Min-ho made the final attack run. He fired a special weapon that Dr. Yang had designed specifically for alien technology. The blast did not destroy the warship, but it shut down all its systems. The engines went dead, the weapons powered down, even the life support flickered. The 3-kilometer-long warship fell from the sky like a dead whale. It crashed into Tokyo Bay with a splash that could be heard for miles. The crew was alive, but their ship was completely disabled. They floated helplessly in the water, waiting for rescue. Admiral Park Jin-woo watched the battle from his command center. He could hardly believe what he was seeing. A single squadron of human fighters had defeated the alien empire's most powerful warship. It should have been impossible, but there it was floating in the bay. He opened a communication channel to the entire alien fleet commander. Vex, he said, his voice calm but strong. That was your demonstration. Now let me give you ours. Your warship is disabled, not destroyed. Your crew is alive because we chose mercy, not because we lack power. The alien commander stared at his tactical displays. One of his most advanced warships had been defeated by primitive fighters using technology that should not exist. His officers were looking at him with expressions of shock and fear. You have 1 hour to begin withdrawing from our system. Park continued, if you do not leave peacefully, we will remove you by force, and next time we might not be so gentle with your crews. But Commander Vex pride was wounded. No young species should be able to defeat imperial technology. His entire career had been built on the idea that the Empire was invincible. If word of this defeat spread across the galaxy, other species might start to rebel. All ships assume attack formation, he ordered. We will destroy this planet and everyone on it. No one will learn about what happened here today. Hundreds of alien warships moved into position above Earth major cities. Their weapons began charging with enough power to turn continents into glass. The skies filled with the glow of energy weapons preparing to fire. President Choi Yuna watched the alien fleet preparing for total war. She had hoped they would be reasonable after the demonstration, but she had planned for this possibility. From her command bunker, she activated a system that had been 20 years in the making. Hidden satellites around Earth suddenly came online, revealing that humans had been preparing for galactic war much longer than anyone suspected. The satellites looked like space junk floating in orbit, but they were actually the most advanced weapons platforms Earth had ever built. Each one carried technology that the Yang team had developed in secret for decades. As the alien ships prepared to attack, Earth revealed its true face. The planet that had looked defenseless was actually a fortress. Hidden weapons emerged from empty space around the globe. Energy shields activated over every major city. Defense platforms that had been invisible suddenly became visible. Dr. Yang Haijin smiled as her secret project came online. She had spent 15 years working on this moment, developing weapons and defenses that no alien species had ever seen. Every satellite, every hidden platform, every shield generator was based on her research. The aliens had expected to fight a primitive species with basic technology. Instead, they found themselves facing innovations that their empire had never encountered. Earth had been preparing for this war since the day humans first looked at the stars. Lee Min-ho received new orders from Admiral Park. His squadron was being equipped with weapons that had never been tested in real combat, but Dr. Yang assured him they would work against alien technology. Time to show them what Earth can really do, he said to his pilots. The real battle was about to begin. Commander Vex thought he was fighting a young, helpless species. Instead, he was about to discover that humans had been getting ready for this fight for their entire history. Every human on Earth looked up at the sky, knowing that the next few hours would determine whether their species remained free or became slaves. The alien empire had conquered 10,000 worlds, but they had never faced anything like humanity. The test was over. Now came the real war around the galaxy. Other species were watching the broadcasts from Earth. For the first time in centuries, someone was successfully resisting imperial rule. Hope began to spread across star systems that had forgotten what freedom meant. The Galactic Empire was about to learn that some species do not surrender and that the youngest races can sometimes teach the oldest ones lessons. They will never forget. War had come to Earth, but Earth was ready. When the alien ships moved to attack, Earth showed its true nature. The planet that had looked helpless was actually the most heavily defended world in the galaxy. Hidden weapon platforms emerged from what appeared to be empty space around Earth. Each platform was the size of a building and bristled with weapons that the aliens had never seen. President Choi Yuna had been planning this moment for 30 years. As a young military officer, she had wondered what would happen if Earth ever faced invasion from space. She had convinced world leaders to secretly prepare for exactly this scenario, while other planets in the galaxy lived under imperial rule or in fear of conquest. Earth had been building the ultimate defense system. Every major nation had contributed technology, money, and resources to Project Guardian, the secret program that turned Earth into a fortress. Dr. Yang Haijin watched her life work come online. Hundreds of satellites that had looked like space debris suddenly activated, revealing themselves to be the most advanced weapons in human history. Each satellite was equipped with technology that her research teams had developed over decades. The aliens thought they were fighting primitive humans with basic weapons. Instead, they discovered that Earth had been studying galactic warfare for generations. Human scientists had analyzed every piece of alien technology they could find, preparing for the day when the Empire would come knocking. Admiral Park Jin-woo stood in his command center watching displays that showed the true extent of Earth defenses. Hidden bases on the moon revealed massive railguns that could punch holes through battleships. Asteroid mining stations transformed into weapons platforms. Space elevators became launch towers for advanced fighters. This is Admiral Park to all Earth forces, he announced. The moment we have prepared for has arrived. Show these invaders what happens when they threaten humanity. Lee Min-ho felt his fighter vibrate as new weapon systems came online. His squadron was being equipped with technology that had been classified above top secret. Each pilot received ammunition that could disable alien ships in ways the Empire had never experienced, but the most shocking revelation was not Earth weapons or defenses, it was the human pilots themselves. Commander Vex watched in amazement as human fighters performed maneuvers that should have been impossible. Other species needed computer assistance to fly in 3 dimensions, but humans seemed to navigate space instinctively. A human pilot could make split-second decisions while spinning through complex attack patterns. They could predict enemy movements and respond before the aliens even knew what was happening. It was like they had been born to fight in the vacuum of space. Dr. Young had discovered why during her research. Human brains were different from other species. Humans had evolved as persistence hunters chasing prey across vast distances. They could think in 3 dimensions while maintaining awareness of multiple threats at the same time. What made humans dangerous was not just their technology, but their minds. They could adapt to new situations faster than any computer could calculate. They took risks that other species would never consider. They fought with creativity that no tactical manual could teach. As the battle began, alien commanders realized they were facing something completely unexpected. Human fighters swarmed through their formations like schools of fish, moving as one unit but capable of individual action. Each pilot seemed to know what their squad mates were thinking. Commander Vex tried to use standard Imperial tactics, but nothing worked. Human pilots anticipated every move and countered with strategies that made no logical sense. By pure military theory, the humans should have been defeated in minutes. Instead, the alien fleet was being torn apart. The revelation spread beyond just military tactics. President Choi Yuna activated communication networks that had been hidden for decades. Earth had not been isolated from galactic civilization. They had been secretly watching and learning for generations. Human agents had infiltrated Imperial space, gathering intelligence about alien technology and military doctrine. Earth scientists had studied captured alien equipment for years, developing countermeasures for every weapon system the Empire used. While the aliens thought they were discovering a primitive world, they were actually attacking a civilization that knew their weaknesses better than they knew themselves. Earth had turned intelligence gathering into an art form. Dr. Young smiled as she watched alien ships struggling with malfunctions that seemed random but were actually planned. Human cyber warfare specialists had been planting viruses and logic bombs in Imperial computer systems for years, waiting for this moment. Alien ships found their navigation systems displaying false information. Their weapons targeted their own allies instead of human forces. Their communication networks became filled with confusing signals that made coordination impossible. But the biggest revelation was happening across the galaxy. Other species were watching Earth broadcasts and learning that the Empire could be defeated. Planets that had surrendered without fighting were seeing that resistance was possible. President Yuna's message reached every world under Imperial control, showing them that the mighty Galactic Empire was not invincible. Her words sparked hope in civilizations that had accepted defeat generations ago. On the planet Kepler, former slaves watched human fighters destroying Imperial warships on the moon colonies of Rigel. Scientists saw Earth technology outperforming Imperial systems. Throughout the galaxy, species that had forgotten the meaning of freedom were remembering what it felt like to fight back. The revelation was spreading faster than Imperial forces could contain it. Human broadcasts were being retransmitted by rebel groups that had been hiding in the shadows for centuries. The galaxy was waking up to the possibility of revolution. Commander Vex realized that this battle was about more than conquering one planet. If Earth succeeded in resisting Imperial rule, it would inspire rebellions across the entire galaxy. His empire was built on the idea that resistance was futile. If that idea died, his civilization would collapse. He sent desperate messages to Imperial headquarters requesting reinforcements, but help was days away. Earth had chosen the perfect moment to reveal itself. When the Empire was spread thin across multiple sectors, dealing with various minor rebellions, Admiral Park Jin-woo had studied Imperial military doctrine for 20 years. He knew that Earth had perhaps 6 hours before massive reinforcements arrived. But 6 hours was enough time to change galactic history forever. Lee Minho led his squadron deeper into the alien formation, hunting for command ships that controlled Imperial communications. If they could disable those vessels, the alien fleet would lose coordination completely. Dr. Yang activated her final surprise. The technology she had developed could not only disable alien systems but could actually take control of them, Imperial ships began receiving orders from Earth computers rather than their own commanders. The revelation was complete. Earth was not a primitive world stumbling into galactic politics. It was a military powerhouse that had been preparing for interstellar warfare longer than most species had known. Space travel existed. Humans had turned their isolation into an advantage, using the time to study their potential enemies and develop technologies specifically designed to defeat Imperial forces. Earth had spent generations getting ready for exactly this moment. The galaxy was about to discover that the youngest species could sometimes be the most dangerous, especially when they had decades to prepare for war. The Galactic Empire had challenged Earth expecting easy victory. Instead, they had awakened something that would change the balance of power forever. The real war was just beginning, and humanity was ready to take the fight to the stars. Admiral Park Jin-woo had waited his entire career for this moment. Earth was done playing defense. It was time to show the galaxy what humans could do when they stopped holding back. He activated communication systems that reached hidden fleets throughout the solar system. All units, this is Admiral Park. The defensive phase is complete. Begin Operation Starfall. Across the solar system, human ships that had been hiding behind asteroids and moons suddenly revealed themselves. The alien fleet found itself surrounded by vessels they had never detected. Hundreds of Earth warships emerged from concealment. Like predators closing in on their prey, Commander Vex stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. His sensors were showing human ships in locations that should have been empty space. The primitive species had somehow hidden an entire battle fleet right under his nose. The human ships were unlike anything in his experience. They were smaller than Imperial vessels, but they moved with incredible speed and precision. Each ship seemed to know exactly where to strike for maximum damage against alien hulls. Min-ho had been promoted to squadron leader during the battle. His target was Commander Vex's flagship, the massive command ship that controlled the entire alien fleet. If he could disable their communications, the Imperial forces would lose all coordination. His fighter squadron dove toward the alien flagship through a storm of energy beams. The massive ship weapons were powerful, but they could not track small, fast targets that moved in unpredictable patterns. Lee led his pilots in a spiraling attack that confused the alien gunners. Dr. Yang Haijin was coordinating the technical aspects of the counterattack from her laboratory. Every human ship was equipped with her latest inventions, weapons that could turn alien technology against itself, shields that absorbed energy attacks and converted them into power for Earth systems. The aliens discovered that fighting humans was unlike any warfare they had experienced. Human tactics were chaotic and creative, completely different from the orderly battles the Empire was used to fighting. Human commanders made decisions that seemed insane but somehow worked perfectly. President Choi Yuna was busy with a different kind of attack. She was broadcasting messages to every planet under Imperial control. Her words were reaching billions of beings who had lived under alien domination for generations. People of the galaxy, she announced, Earth is showing you that the Empire can be defeated. We are not just fighting for our own freedom, we are fighting for yours. Watch what happens when free beings refuse to surrender. Her broadcasts were having an immediate effect across the galaxy. Subject species were rising up against their Imperial overlords. Planets that had been peaceful for centuries suddenly erupted into revolution. The galaxy was catching fire with rebellion. On the planet Vega, mining slaves threw down their tools and attacked their Imperial guards. On the moons of Centauri, scientists sabotaged weapons factories that supplied the Imperial fleet. Throughout known space, the message was spreading that resistance was possible. Commander Vex was receiving reports of uprisings from dozens of star systems. His empire was collapsing while he watched. The humans had turned one battle into a galactic revolution. Their broadcasts were more dangerous than their weapons. Meanwhile, Lee Min-ho had reached the alien flagship. His squadron swarmed around the massive command ship like angry insects. Each fighter targeted a different system: communications, weapons, engines, life support. The aliens could not defend against attacks coming from every direction. The flagship weapons went silent. First, Dr. Yang's special ammunition disrupted their power systems in ways that Imperial engineers had never seen. Energy that should have powered massive guns instead created feedback loops that shut down entire sections of the Sheep, Admiral? Park watched the battle from his command center. Earth forces were not just winning, they were demonstrating complete superiority over Imperial technology. Human ships danced through alien formations, destroying everything they touched while taking minimal damage themselves, but Park knew the real victory was happening across the galaxy. His communications officers were monitoring Imperial emergency channels. The Empire was facing rebellions on hundreds of worlds. Their forces were scattered, trying to contain uprisings that grew larger every hour. Dr. Yang activated her most secret weapon, the viruses and logic bombs that human agents had planted in Imperial computer systems. Over decades of infiltration, now those hidden programs activated simultaneously across the galaxy. Imperial ships throughout known space found their computers turning against them. Navigation systems displayed false information. Weapons targeted their own allies. Communication networks became filled with human broadcasts instead of Imperial orders. Chaos spread through the Empire faster than their commanders could respond. Minho made his final attack run on the alien flagship. His fighter carried a special device that Dr. Yang had designed specifically for command ships. The weapon did not destroy the vessel, but it took complete control of its communication systems. Suddenly, every Imperial ship in the solar system began receiving orders from Earth computers instead of their own commanders. Alien vessels turned their weapons on each other, following commands that came from human sources. The mighty Imperial fleet began destroying itself. Commander Vex watched his forces collapse around him. Ships that should have been following his orders were taking direction from the humans he had come to conquer. His flagship was no longer under his control. Even his personal communications were being monitored by Earth intelligence. President Yuna appeared on every screen throughout the alien fleet. Her image was being broadcast from their own command ship using their own equipment. Commander Vex, she said, her voice calm but strong, your empire ends today. Your ships are under our control. Your forces across the galaxy are facing revolution. Your age of conquest is over. The alien commander realized that he was not just losing a battle. He was witnessing the collapse of everything his civilization had built. The Galactic Empire had ruled through fear and superior technology, but the humans had turned both advantages against them. Admiral Park opened a channel to the defeated alien fleet. You came here expecting to add Earth to your empire, he announced. Instead, you have given us the tools to liberate the galaxy. Every ship you brought will become part of our fleet. Every weapon you carried will be used to free the worlds. You have enslaved Earth fighters were boarding alien vessels, taking control of ships that were far more advanced than anything humans had built. The aliens found themselves prisoners on their own vessels, watching humans learn to operate Imperial technology in real time. Dr. Yang was analyzing captured alien computers, discovering the locations of every Imperial base and weapon facility in the galaxy. The information would be invaluable for the liberation campaigns that would follow. Minho landed his fighter in the bay of the alien flagship. He removed his helmet and walked through corridors filled with defeated alien soldiers. None of them tried to stop him. They had seen what humans could do in battle. The counterattack was complete, but it was just the beginning. Earth had not only defended itself, but had captured an entire Imperial fleet. The weapons and ships would be used to carry human forces across the galaxy, bringing freedom to worlds that had forgotten what liberty meant. Commander Vex sat in his command chair, watching human soldiers take control of his ship. The species he had dismissed as primitive had just destroyed an empire that had ruled for thousands of years. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had announced its arrival on the galactic stage not as subjects seeking protection, but as liberators, bringing revolution to every star system. The age of the Galactic Empire was ending, and the age of human expansion was about to begin. The battle that was supposed to be Earth destruction became the beginning of the Empire collapse. Commander Vex sat in his prison cell aboard his own flagship, watching human technicians learn to operate Imperial technology. His mighty fleet now served Earth, and every day brought news of more worlds joining the rebellion. Admiral Park Jinwoo stood on the bridge of the captured alien command ship, studying star maps that showed the entire galaxy. For the first time in human history, they could see every world that needed liberation. Every planet under Imperial rule was now a potential ally waiting for freedom. The Transformation happened faster than anyone expected. Within weeks of Earth victory, entire star systems were declaring independence from imperial rule. The galaxy had been waiting for someone to prove that the Empire could be defeated. Once humanity showed it was possible, the revolution spread like wildfire. President Choi Yuna was no longer just leader of Earth. She had become the symbol of galactic freedom. Her broadcasts reached every corner of known space, inspiring species that had given up hope generations ago. Her words carried more power than imperial weapons ever had. Lee Min-ho commanded the first human fleet to leave the solar system. His mission was to reach the planet Kepler, where mining slaves had risen up against their imperial guards. The former slaves had sent desperate messages asking for help before imperial reinforcements could arrive. His fleet consisted of captured alien ships, operated by human crews and liberated aliens working together. It was the first mixed species force in galactic history, and it moved with purpose that the Empire had never possessed. Yang Haijin had established research stations on dozens of liberated worlds. Her teams worked with alien scientists, sharing technology and developing new innovations that combined human creativity with alien knowledge. The galaxy was experiencing a technological renaissance. The journey to Kepler took 2 weeks, but when Lee fleet arrived, they found the planet already free. The slaves had used captured imperial weapons to defeat their guards. They had taken control of the mining facilities and were broadcasting messages of victory to other enslaved worlds. Similar stories were coming from across the galaxy. Species that had been conquered centuries ago were remembering how to fight. Imperial garrisons found themselves outnumbered by populations they had oppressed for generations. The Empire war machine was collapsing from within. Admiral Park established the Galactic Liberation Command with headquarters on Earth but offices on every freed world. The organization coordinated resistance movements, shared intelligence, and provided military support to any planet requesting help. Within 6 months, the map of the galaxy had completely changed. Hundreds of worlds had declared independence. Imperial forces were retreating to their core systems, and new alliances were forming between species that had never cooperated before. Commander Vex spent his imprisonment writing reports about human capabilities that would never reach imperial headquarters. His empire was too busy fighting rebellions to care about the warnings of a defeated commander. He watched through prison windows as his former flagship carried human forces to liberate more worlds. President Yuna announced the formation of the Galactic Freedom Alliance, an organization dedicated to ensuring that no species would ever again face conquest by a single empire. The alliance had simple rules: mutual defense, shared technology, and absolute respect for each member independently. Min-ho had become Admiral Lee, commanding liberation fleets that freed dozens of star systems. His tactics were studied by military academies on every allied world. Human methods of warfare were revolutionary and effective in ways that traditional galactic strategy could never match. Yang discoveries revolutionized science across the galaxy. Her research teams found that combining human innovation with alien knowledge created technologies neither species could develop alone. Liberation brought not just freedom but unprecedented advancement. For everyone, the transformation was not just military but cultural. Human concepts of individual rights, democratic government, and economic freedom spread through the galaxy. Species that had lived under imperial control for generations were learning new ways to organize their societies. Earth became the center of galactic civilization, not through conquest but through example. Human values of cooperation, creativity, and determination inspired other species to achieve things they had never thought possible. The galaxy was becoming more diverse and dynamic than ever before. 1 year after the invasion attempt, the Galactic Empire controlled less than 10% of its former territory. Imperial forces were trapped in their home systems, surrounded by the very species they had once enslaved. The hunters had become the hunted. Admiral Park received regular reports of imperial collapse. Former imperial worlds were joining the Freedom Alliance faster than new governments could be established. The galaxy was experiencing the largest political transformation in recorded history. Lee Min-ho led the final campaign against imperial homeworlds, but when his fleets arrived, they found that even the Empire heartland was in rebellion. Imperial citizens had seen the broadcasts from liberated worlds and decided they wanted freedom too. The last Imperial stronghold fell without a battle. Imperial commanders surrendered rather than fight their own people of the Galactic Empire that had ruled for thousands of years disappeared in less than 2 years, destroyed not by conquest but by the simple idea that freedom was possible. Yang established the Galactic Science Institute, combining research from hundreds of species into cooperative projects that benefited everyone. Technology advanced faster in 2 years than it had in the previous century. The galaxy was entering a golden age of discovery and innovation. President Yuna addressed the galaxy from the former imperial capital. Her words were broadcast to every world in known space, reaching species that had just learned they were free to choose their own destiny. Today marks the end of the Age of Empire, she announced. From this day forward, no single power will rule the galaxy. We have proven that cooperation is stronger than conquest, that freedom is more powerful than fear, that diverse species working together can achieve anything. The ceremony was attended by representatives from over 1,000 world species that had been enemies under imperial rule were now allies in building a better galaxy. Former slaves stood beside former imperial citizens, united in their commitment to preventing future tyranny. Li Minho was awarded command of the new Galactic Defense Fleet. His mission was to ensure that no new empire could rise to threaten galactic freedom. The fleet was staffed by volunteers from dozens of species, all committed to protecting the independence they had fought to achieve. Yang received the first Galactic Science Prize for her discoveries that had made liberation possible. Her research continued to push the boundaries of what was possible when creative minds from different species worked together toward common goals. Earth had challenged the galaxy to be better, and the galaxy had responded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. The war that was supposed to destroy humanity had instead liberated every species in known space. The universe was bigger, brighter, and more hopeful than ever before. Commander Vex was eventually released and chose to remain on Earth studying human society. He spent his remaining years writing about the species that had shown the galaxy that impossible was just another word for things no one had tried yet. The Galactic Empire had challenged Earth expecting easy victory. Instead, they had awakened something that changed the course of history. Humanity had given the galaxy its greatest gift, the knowledge that freedom was always possible for those brave enough to fight for it. The Age of Empire was over. The Age of Freedom had begun.